Good, there you go. Good morning and welcome to Morning Coffee Live. Joining me today, a very special guest, we have Dr. Jeremy Gartner. Dr. Gartner is the founder and CEO of Career Propulsion, but he's not just a career coach. He's an innovator who's completely redefining how people find a perfect job in today's tough market. Using his revolutionary 90-30-10 method, Dr. Gartner propels people into their future careers. But his story goes beyond that. It's actually nothing short of extraordinary because before transforming career coaching landscape, he earned his doctorate in aerospace engineering from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, where his research in experimental aerodynamics paved the way for advancements in flow control technology. And then he also ended up going over to CERN, where he represented Israel in experimental particle physics research, contributing to top-tier scientific publications. In addition to that scientific and technical acumen, he also holds an MBA from the Wharton School of Business, further solidifying his prowess in both science and business. His multifaceted background and relentless drive to help others succeed make him a force to be reckoned with today. So get ready to be inspired as we dive into Dr. Gartner's story together, exploring how he bridges the gap between science, technology, and career coaching, and helps his clients achieve their dreams. So please welcome Dr. Jeremy Gartner to the show. Good morning, Dr. Gartner. Thank you so much for joining today.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me here.
So to get started, I'm very curious about this. How did you go from aerospace engineering, kind of the pinnacle of science, to career propulsion? You're trying to take your aerospace technology there and apply it to careers. How'd that come about?
Sure. So there's a funny story to that. I was able to get every opportunity in my career, from that PhD to CERN to the medical device industry to Wharton, always by really running experiments with the understanding that I was always the least qualified candidate to get the job. And yet I was the one getting the job, always selected, one out of hundreds of people. Now, at the beginning of COVID, people started losing their jobs left and right. And as another experiment, I just said on LinkedIn, I just started playing with LinkedIn, seeing what people want to learn and what people want to really hear about. And as one of my experiments, I was just telling people, look, if you are losing your job because of COVID and you need help with your resume, I will help you for $5. And what I did not expect is that, first of all, the volume and the quality of people that I was attracting was much higher than what everything I could anticipate. But also, there was a huge discrepancy between what people believed it takes to get a job, meaning really relying on your professional skills, on your certificates, and so on, versus what I know it takes to land any opportunity when you are not really qualified here.
So I love that. I'd like to dive in there a little deeper. You said when you're not really qualified and being the least qualified, how do you make that jump to go, I know I'm not ready for this job. Let's do it anyways and dive in.
So here's the thing. Most of the people we help, they're already at the executive level, meaning directors and above. And everyone at that stage in their career were able to get to a point where they experienced a manager that they knew they were more qualified than them. And yet they were the ones getting the job, getting more money, more authority, more influence, and so on. So it really raised the question, is it the person with the best qualifications getting the job, or the ones who is playing the game in a different way? In the end of the day, with the right attitude, I'm not saying you don't need the skills. You do need the skills to perform your job. But the skills, that's something secondary that you do acquire by surrounding yourself with the right people, with the right mentors. So it's a very different game to play than just relying on being 100% qualified for that next level opportunity.
I've read some research on that on LinkedIn. As you know, I've been in the job hunt as well. And they say that most people, if they don't meet all the qualifications, and I believe it's especially among women, if they don't meet all of the qualifications, they generally won't apply for a job. Whereas men are more likely to, where if they meet even some of them, they're about 85% likely to apply for the job anyways. How much do the qualifications of the job and the job posting really matter when it comes to a good job hunt?
They do matter. So your question is, how much does it matter to get the job or to do a good job?
Either. To me, yeah, it's really, to me, a question of, should you be afraid when you don't meet those qualifications? And if you don't, how do you prepare to go into that when you know you can handle the job, but you may not meet the qualifications?
So anyone, first of all, if you apply, let's start there. Let's establish that baseline that if you just apply online, you will not get the job. You might get a job. I'm not saying you are not going to get a job, but those VP level jobs, the right opportunities, the good ones, the high paying ones, they're the ones that are going to be really taken out of the market even before they're advertised anywhere. So in the ideal case, what we want is to build the relationships even before that they're aware that they have a need. So it really comes down to a marketing exercise where you are shaping the market to your own presence. And people will create either a job based on your skills, or they are going to share with you an opportunity that you might not hit on every single box, but an opportunity that is not advertised anywhere, that is internal to the company. And because you establish that relationship, they will just bring you to the interview process, even though you might not be the best candidate. It's a game that trust matters much more than the specific skills. Now, the skills, they do have their place. It is a variable in that equation, but that's not the most important one by far. It's not the most important one to really get someone to trust you, to give you the keys to handle that opportunity and to solve that specific problem that they need help with.
And so, if that's not the key component, what is?
So we are talking about a game of influence. That's really the game here. What are all of the levers that I can use to influence people to trust me in giving me the opportunity that I want?
And that's kind of the concept you built career propulsion around, isn't it? The idea of going in and saying, the job mate isn't going to be posted. It's not going to be the right one. You need to get in there with influence, with relationship, have it built for you. It needs to be something. It's basically looking at something as out of the box versus custom. And what you're saying is, at this level, when you're looking at the higher roles, the better roles, those roles that'll really propel your career forward, the standard cookie cutter approach just won't work. And that's where career propulsion comes in. And what's the idea there? Just to set you on the path? Is it, here's 10 tricks, or do you have a full system?
So the key idea here is to change your behaviors. So going back to the initial question, why is that your manager that is less qualified than you still has that opportunity that you do not have? It all comes down to behaviors on how you are approaching the job search. So as long as you have behaviors of a job seeker, or in other words, as long as you have the identity of a job seeker, you will behave as a job seeker, meaning relying on your resume, meaning relying on applying online, relying on your limited network, and you might get something, but not the ultimate best opportunity. So what is it that needs to change here is, first of all, the identity that you have about yourself, understanding that once you are reaching those levels, because you are earning hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and you are serving only one client. As a matter of fact, you are not anymore a job seeker, you are a business owner offering your services. And all you need is to close one sale, and one sale only to the right client. And with the identity of a business owner, now you can own the behaviors that are going to dictate a very predictable outcome. defining your target audience, defining your positioning, creating a go-to-market strategy. So creating a very defined offering. All of those elements are fully in your control. But again, it does require from you to ignore the conventional approach, which is just applying online, hoping that some white knight is going to find you and give you that next opportunity. There is a better way to play that game.
So, on that note, when you change this mindset from a job seeker to a business owner, is it a psychological issue of thinking of yourself differently, or is it really about the tactical approach of approaching as a business selling a product versus as a person finding a job? Or is it a combination of both? Does that the psychological difference of how you view the situation, does that really impact how you go about it?
It is a problem with multiple layers. And at the foundation that we need to solve for, first of all, is how you are viewing yourself. Without the right identity, I can share with you all of the tactics, but you will not implement them because you will not behave the right way, because you will fall back into the old habits. It's like a smoker that wants to stop smoking. As long as they see themselves as smoker, they will crave that cigarette.
Guilty as charged.
So we need to solve for all of those layers, but at the base, there is that identity that has to shift. Otherwise, you will fall back into your comfort zone every single time, not resulting to the outcome that you could get otherwise.
I would have to think for a company like yours with career propulsion, that has to be one of the biggest challenges you're facing too, is changing that narrative people have in their own head of how you find a job and how you search for a job. People have been doing it the old-fashioned way of resumes and cover letters forever. Obviously, technology's changed where everything's online now, and you have to get through ATS systems for it to even hopefully get seen if you're lucky. But I know in my experience, it's been thousands of resumes to an interview. I put in probably about 4,000 resumes now, and I landed about 11 or 12 good interviews out of that. When you change that approach and you take a system like yours, are you going to still have volume, or are you going to have just quality? And how much, is it something where can you expect to see better results than the traditional methods? Because those to me seem like they're just getting worse and worse every day. There's 500 plus applicants to every job, and you're lucky to get seen. And you can read the qualifications and know that you're more qualified than anyone for the job. You'd be the perfect person. And if you're lucky, you get a form rejection email. And if not, you're usually just ghosted. Using a system like yours, how does that change?
And not only that, you are very desperate and hoping that the outcome of the interview is going to result in an offer. Meaning that there is such, as long as you keep applying online, the power dynamic is such that they have the power and you are kind of begging to give you that offer that you want, that you need. Meaning that you approach that from a place of, they are the ones solving the problem that you have. Now, here's the thing. As long as you are attached to the outcome of that conversation that you have during the interviews, you might get the job, but it's not going to be the right job. What I'm talking about is, forget about applying online. What I'm talking about is identifying very clearly where is it that you want to go. And if you don't know, that's fine. There is a process to identify where you want to go, to explore multiple directions at the same time. But once you identify that, creating the right narrative that is going to shift the way that you are viewing yourself, first of all. And then you are asking about volume. It's both volume and both quality. So it's like going into a funnel, into a corridor where at first we got some noise, but a lot of people. And the more we refine that funnel, the more we move people into, the more people invest in us, the more we are going to invest in them in return. And by the end of that funnel, the quality will be there. but the expectation that you will have 100% quality from the get-go is not the best. It's not the most productive one to get to that outcome fast with a job that you are really excited about.
Gotcha. So jumping into more of what you do in career propulsion. I mean, we titled this podcast "Principles to Attract 500K Plus Opportunities" with Dr. Jeremy Gartner. What are some of those baseline principles that people need to understand to get them going in the right direction here?
So first of all, that shift in identity, and I'm going back to that because that shift in identity is dictating the behaviors. That shift in identity needs to happen. How does that happen? By re-articulating your narrative in a way that sells. Now, it's not about the resume. I don't care about the resume. What it's about the story that you share not only with other people, but it's the story that you tell yourself about who you are as a professional. Once you get there, it is really about, okay, this is my story. Those are the segments I want to go after. It's all about now having a plan so that I can connect with the right people, with the right volume, and be learning. It's a skill. It's nothing else than a skill. It's learning how to build the right assets so that people will trust you faster.
That resonates really well because I'm a storyteller by trade, and a quote I've used 1,000 times. I don't know where it came from, or I don't know if I came up with it myself. I don't know, but my wife's heard it enough times that she's sick of it, and that is always be the hero of your own story. And when it comes to marketing, I'm a very big believer in that concept. Something you see frequently is people are always knocking themselves down. They're playing the victim in everything, right? When it comes to their job hunt, when it comes to almost anything, they are the victim. I've always been a big believer, be the hero of your story. One of the issues that I've run into is I play hero of my own story and I write my story or I tell my story. My story sounds really damn good. And I worry that other people hear it and go, oh, this is, they either don't believe it, they think it's ridiculous, or they think you're boastful, etc. How do you embrace that story and make it become a part of you where, and like for me, as I said, I run into an issue of I've run marketing for some of the largest companies in the entire world. I ran one of the largest digital marketing teams in the world. I've worked with 9-figure budgets. I deliver 10-figure results. I've worked across every aspect of marketing, served on boards of directors for PRSA. I've started an international nonprofit. You start putting all that together. How do you start determining what pieces of this story are actually matter and resonate? And where should I be telling the story? How can I be telling this story to where I'm going to find someone where they care about that story versus the blowing it off? How do you get to that right audience, and how do you craft that story to make sure you're highlighting the parts that are actually going to move the needle?
So we can really sum it up to 3 principles. Number one, I would slightly reframe what you are sharing about being the hero of your story to learning how to frame yourself as being the guide to someone else's story. Everyone wants to be the hero of their journey, and people who want to be successful, but what that CEO wants, it's not another hero. It's a guide that is going to make them successful. And again, every time that you are going to see any movie, really, any book that is good, whether it's really Star Wars, Karate Kid, Frozen, it's always following the same framework. You have a hero starting on a journey where the outcome of that journey is going to be very clear, like whether they will succeed or whether they will fail. And they start fighting and they start losing. And just when they're about to lose, then they meet that guide that is going not to fight for them, but give them the right tools so that they can win that battle, that journey, and get to the outcome that they want. Now, in that framework, the person that you want to be is the guide. for that hero that is on their journey. And when you frame your story that way, that is why people will hire you, because they are at the center of that story. You are just joining their journey to make them successful. So that is number one. And whether that is happening in the way you are sharing your story with people, whether you are in a meeting, in a conference room at your company, it's always that same principle. You are the guide to someone else's story. And that's why people will bring you along with them. Now,
I was gonna say, I absolutely love that. And it's a little bit of a, it's playing with my brain a little, because you're saying, don't be the hero of your story. Make the other person the hero of the story, and you be that sidekick who's always there for them to make them achieve the best. And it makes sense. At that point, you become invaluable to the other. It's not about you anymore. It becomes about them. Does that still work though for very large companies? Are they still married to it in a way where they want, is it something where that only works for leaders, or does that kind of work across the board for people?
People are people, especially leaders. They got to the top. They want to stay there. Are they going to be capable to find someone who cares more about them than about themselves?
Like it.
So if I go to an interview, am I going to care more about making you successful or about me climbing to the top? Who is going to get the job?
The one who has the company in focus.
So that's why when you approach those interviews, you want to frame your story. You want to frame those interviews as more of a business discussion, where what you assess is, am I going to be able to make you successful? And when you enter those interviews, those discussions with that mindset, it becomes much easier to just get their trust. But it does require a shift in identity again, because you are a business owner serving clients. You are not an employee being served by the employer.
And that's the mental shift.
That's a big part of it. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you have for people who know they're in that part in their career where they're ready for more? They've done, the entry level, they've been in the field for a while. They know they're on the right path, but they don't know how to make that transition from being an employee to being the owner of their own business, with the product being themselves. What's the best way to get started on that path? Besides, obviously, sign up for Career Propulsion.
You need a guide. If you knew how to do that, you would be there already. That's number one. And that's relevant for any change that you want to make in life. I want to be in shape. Okay, I'm going to find a coach that is going to help me getting more in shape. Otherwise, I know what I need to do. I know that I need to be healthier, to be careful about what I'm going to eat, about doing sport and all the things. But if I'm not in shape, there's a reason, and it's hopeful thinking that I'm going to be able to do that on my own. So you do need a guide that you trust, that can really take you throughout that journey. There's so many elements in that journey that it's not that this knowledge does not exist. We did create our own frameworks and all of that, but it's all borrowed from marketing and from sales and from executive coaching and from all of those spaces. So all of that knowledge is publicly available. But what is a guide doing? A guide is not only showing you what to do, it's also showing you what not to do, so that you can gain time and speed. And any coach that you are going to hire, by the way, make sure that they have a coach themselves. Otherwise, it's just a strong reflection on how much they believe in that model, and they just position themselves as that guide. So it's a journey of growth. It's a journey of transformation. It's not stopping after working for 3 months with someone. For me, it's a lifelong journey. And when you are making already 200K, so fine-tuning your processes a little bit, it's going to increase your salary right away to 250, 300 within 3 months. keep adding those skills, one new skill every quarter, and every quarter just identify what new skill do I want to build, keep fine-tuning that machine, and within a few years you are not at the 300, 400, you are the 1 million, 2 millions. And it's not just you serving one employer, you can serve multiple people. So there is a lot of shift in mindset that needs to happen, but none of that can happen on your own. Otherwise,
You'd be doing it
you'll just be
already.
there already.
Gotcha. When it comes to mentorship, that's something that I think has been undervalued in business these days. I know when I was going to graduate school for marketing PR at Iona University, and even before that, my undergrad, I had a couple of professors, very few, but they were always very big on find yourself a mentor. Find someone to ride their coattails. And it's something I've talked a bit about before, riding coattails. It's an incredibly valuable thing to be able to do. What about for people, though, who don't have a mentor, don't have a guide? What's the best way to find one to help start setting you in the right direction?
You pay for it. You just pay for it. My mentor is owning a hundreds of millions of dollars business. Why would he look at me? He doesn't know me. And by the way, so I am paying him a lot of money so that he can mentor me, so that I can learn how to grow my business. Could I do that on my own? Maybe after a lot of years. But what I'm buying is speed, it's wisdom, it's learning what to do, what not to do again. And that's the fastest way. Why would it have to be free? You want the best. That's the meaning of investing in yourself. An investment has a return. So you want to make sure that whatever you are investing in will be worth it.
So in that case, you're basically treating mentorship as a commodity, really, in the sense of if you don't have it, buy it. Because if most people search for a mentor among their peer group or among their bosses within their job. And so if you don't have a good one, what you're saying is they're out there, go find the one you want, pay for that. Think of it as a product, a service like you would anything else, and use it as such for your growth.
Well, it's always the same model when you want to build new capabilities for a company, right? You always have three options: buy, borrow, or build. You can either build the capabilities yourself by reading books, but you are going to lack that feedback loop that you will not get by just reading books. You can borrow by just being lucky and finding some mentor that is going to maybe meet with you once in a while, maybe guide you, give you some advice, but they will not be really truly committed in meeting with you frequently to help you with that progression. Or you can buy someone's services. And by the way, my mentor that I'm paying, it was a 1-year relationship until he agreed that even for the money, agreed to mentor me. So, but once you got that opportunity to buy the mentorship of the right person, that's where you start seeing a lot of rapid changes. It's just that a lot of people are very afraid of getting feedback from someone else. So again, that person is not going to solve your life's problems, but identify the one area in your life that you want to improve and get someone who's already a few steps ahead of you that is mentoring other people as a part of his job. So again, my mentor, it's not his job to mentor me. He has his company, but he's doing that on the side along with other people that he's mentoring as well. But the buy for me, that's the no-brainer if you are really serious. It's like going to my MBA at Wharton. The cost of an MBA to the executive MBA program at Wharton was $215,000. I'm buying the mentorship of people that I know got at the top in their space to really teach me what I need to learn about the world of business. It's no different.
Got it. And that relationship aspect and that mentorship aspect is something that seems to be coming up kind of multiple times. Beyond the relationship aspect, what else should people be doing to prepare themselves for that future career?
I'm just thinking about
Mhm.
the right answer because there are so many ways. What is it that they need to they need to define a timeline, first of all, by which they will decide if I am not capable to make that change on my own. By the month of October, then I will invest in someone to really accelerate that, because otherwise you can stay in that for a very, very long time. That is number one. Now, people really overestimate what they're capable to achieve on the short term and underestimate what they can achieve on the long term. And that is very, very, very important, because as a business owner, the name of the game is to build assets. Your store, as a business owner looking for that one client that you're going to serve, what are those assets? Building the story, creating a go-to-market strategy, having systems so that you learn how to create advocates from scratch anywhere very fast, having data and analytics so that you can track all of the outcome of your efforts. So all of those assets need to be built one at a time. Book a free session with one of the million career coaching companies that exist in that space, and try to identify what is it that I'm missing the most that can move the needle.
Got it. So, kind of two more major questions for you, or one of them just kind of set you up. As you said, look at one of the millions of career coaches out there. Today, we have a very special career coach with us, Dr. Jeremy Gartner. How about you take a moment, tell us a bit about career propulsion, and if people want to come to you, what you do for them. I want to give you time to give a shameless plug for your company and kind of, the elevator pitch, and then maybe a little deeper on just what, if I were to come to you today, or any of my viewers were to call you up today and shoot you a message, what's that journey going to look like for them, and what can you do for them?
Sure. So first of all, we are, I believe, one of the fastest career coaching company in terms of growth in the US. So you are joining a community of other executives who are all on that journey and that are being coached by a team of people who've been both in corporate at the executive level, and also who've been executive coaches who kind of woke up one day and decided to go on that new journey. And those are the people that we have on the team that can really take you there. People who've been on the field, who know what it looks like to be in your shoes. What does that journey look like? It's all about building the right pillars one at a time. Now, it means building your story. It means creating a clear go-to-market strategy so that when you have 5 minutes to dedicate to that search, you know how to utilize them and you know where you are going. It means building the right marketing assets, and those were the strategy assets. The right marketing assets are going to be the right assets in charge of bringing you the right opportunities at the right volume that you want and at the right level, so the right opportunities. How do we do that? We use marketing strategies and tactics. It's a mix of building relationships using digital tools such as automation, along with very personalized tactics such as sending video messages to some individuals. So it is a journey on its own to learn how to get the right people coming to you who are interested in your services and who are qualified to work with you. And then we build the sales assets, which is how you are going to build trust with them once you are in front of them. Long story short, people who go through that journey, or at least 88% of the people who go through that journey, have a steady pipeline of interviews at the right level coming their way within 3 months. That's what should be expected. Now you really come to learn a skill. So it's not about the resume, it's not tactical. It's something that you learn in a very structured, in a very organized way, so that doesn't matter when you will need a job again. You will know exactly what to do next in order to keep jumping to that next level opportunity.
It's exciting. So with the 3 months, you said, that's you'll get a pipeline going. Is that kind of the typical time frame it takes to get someone up and going in this new mentality, mindset, and approach to career advancement?
That is the minimum amount of time to build that marketing machine.
Gotcha.
Now we have more sophisticated programs that are 6 months to take people to C-level jobs that do require more sophisticated marketing strategies, such as starting to leverage social media so that your message is not one-to-one anymore, but one-to-many. So there are other tools here, but the 3-month journey, really, that's the minimum amount of time to build the marketing machine, to start seeing consistent results where the outcome is directly correlated to your input here.
Gotcha. And then you also mentioned that Career Propulsion is either the fastest or one of the fastest growing career coaching organizations in America right now. I'm a marketing guy. How are you marketing Career Propulsion? How are you achieving that level of growth?
We do have, so on LinkedIn, I do have 54,000 followers. So, and I'm posting every day, twice a day. So we got a lot of people from LinkedIn. We do have a lot of webinars every 3 weeks on average. We do have a new webinar where I'm speaking live about what it takes to get any opportunity. As a matter of fact, we do have a new webinar tonight.
And shoot me the details.
I will share with you the details so that people can sign up or to the following ones. On my profile, it's always advertised when the next one is happening. But we also have a lot of affiliate webinars with top business schools, Wharton, RPI, and so on. So it's the more attention you get, the more people realize, oh, there is a solution that does make sense. That is ignoring the conventional approach, but that finally makes sense.
Gotcha. Well, we are coming up pretty close, I think, on time here. What else would you like to share with the audience in general? And then also, if people are interested, what's the best way to find you?
LinkedIn would be the easiest way to find us. That's number one. Number two, you can find us through the website, careerpropulsion.com. And number three, so LinkedIn, you can find my email on LinkedIn as well. That's also one of the easiest ways. But LinkedIn, I would say, is the number one avenue if you want to learn more about what we are doing, about how we operate, and just making initial contact so you can assess whether what we do makes sense for you or not.
And who's the right client for you?
The right client are people who want to get to VP level jobs or C-level jobs in the next 5 years. So I'm saying that in a very general way, 5 years, because there are people who already CEOs of companies, but those are small companies. And maybe the next right job will be to be a VP at a bigger size company. Or could be a director who say, my next job is to become a VP. Or a manager that already got some people experience in terms of leadership and management and all of that. And they say, well, maybe not the next role, but in the next 5 years, I want and I can become a VP if I play my cards right. So people typically making about 200K and above
Got it.
who do understand the value of investing in themselves and the value of speed when we talk about getting to that next level opportunity, and who are ambitious, who want to get there, and who are not just waiting to get stuck, to start making a change with how they behave with their career.
Got it. Sounds good. Any good plans for the summer? We're kicking off here.
Any good plan? Yeah, we are going to Israel. So family there, it's going to be fun, exciting. So that's the plans here.
Gotcha. Interesting time to be choosing for travel to Israel. So stay safe.
Thank you.
Well, Dr. Gartner, thank you very much for joining me today. Anyone, if you're interested in learning more, please go to careerpropulsion.com or reach out to Dr. Jeremy Gartner on LinkedIn. Learn how to get ahead, how to attract those $500,000 executive level jobs. I have gone through a bit of his process before. I've seen some of how it works. It's an incredible system he's put together. You may have heard of his 90-30-10 method as well. In fact, do you want to tell us real quickly about the 90-30-10 method? I know that's something I hear bounce around here and there, and I've seen it pop up actually outside of you directly. I believe you're the founder of that. Do you want to give people just a quick what it is?
So in quick 10 seconds, the 90-30-10, it is a framework to get people to create jobs for you. We need to understand that in the end of the day, we don't want to just reach out to recruiters or HR people. Those are not the people who are going to create for you a job. What we need is to speak with people qualified to create for you the opportunity. Now, there is a very important concept that exists that I call the willingness to help of an individual. It means that the top 10% of people with that attribute, so the top 10% of people with that highest willingness to help, will help anyone on the street, that they will love helping others. And the worst 10% will not even help their own family members. Now, with that in mind, we need to understand that not everyone will want to help us. And we want to reach to the people that do require the minimum amount of efforts in order to have a good relationship with you. So if we start with, let's say, 90 people and you send connection requests on LinkedIn to 90 people, out of those 90, 30, so about a third, are going to accept those requests. Now, to those 30 people, if you reach out to them and ask for a coffee chat, because you are not going to build trust and relationship with anyone without at first speaking with them. Out of those 30 people, you are going to ask for a coffee chat. And from there are different ways to do that. You can send a text message on LinkedIn with a response rate of 5 to 20%. You can send a video message on LinkedIn with a response rate from 20 to 70%. So out of those 30, typically we end up speaking with about 10 people. And out of those 10 people, about 5 of them are going to refer you to a job. And that is how you are going to end up getting that opportunity. But it all starts with understanding that this is the minimum mass needed, critical mass needed in order to start moving the needle.
Thanks so much, Dr. Gartner. So if you're interested in learning more about the 90-30-10 method or how career propulsion can help advance your career, please reach out to Dr. Gartner. Dr. Gartner, thank you so much for joining me today. Absolutely honored to have you join the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have anything else to say to the audience, now would be the time, and we will wrap it up and move on with the day.
No, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. It was a fun experience. And just anyone, reach out to me on LinkedIn if you have any question or want to learn more.
Thanks so much, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Jeremy Gartner. Have a wonderful day, all. God bless. Bye.